Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Edessa, The Dark Crusade, Season 2. Wow, it took my brain a moment to buffer there. This evening's scene will be set at Omar's shop, a fine establishment of altogether junk. At least I assume it's junk. It's pretty much junk. It's junk in my universe. As several of the city, or two of the city's kindred, are about to have a lovely chance encounter. So I will intro first. Solhadrin is sitting in the top room on the second floor, the room reserved for their kind this evening. He entered unseen, using the gifts of Set to maneuver himself to a comfortable seated position where he lit the burners, the char for the charcoal, and began to smoke shisha, seeming very pleased with himself. And he will wait until company joins him.
Kadir will be going up the stairs as he waves to Omar and speaks to him momentarily for forgiveness of the last unfortunate encounter he had here and hope everything is going well for him before he continues going up the stairs just to be away from his shack and his farmlands and be not the best way to put it, not be locked to his house due to this martial law. He can't exploit not exploit he cannot expand his influence nor express his concerns to the city being locked in his house. So at this time he will begin to ascend the stairs and see if anybody might be around that he could talk to help work on some personal endeavors of his.
As you enter the second floor room of Omar's shop, you will see the pictured individual seated there smoking shisha.
Kadir will take notice that this person is new to him, and it's not that he's seen every K Knight in Odessa, but he's seen quite a few of recent. And um, and with that, he will see this person smoking, and will bow to him, and just simply say, "Evening."
Salam alaikum. It would seem as though another soul braves the twisting maze of the city tonight.
I can't stay at home forever, though I'm not happy about moving at these times of night. There are times where one cannot simply just stay at his home.
Hmm. So it is that you have shackles placed around your arms and shackles placed around your feet to drag you down to bear the weight. This is an unfortunate truth.
And he nods. The martial law, as far as I been told and seen, it is effective if not debilitating.
Is it effective?
Hmm. There's technically less disturbances as they have been, though there's still a few, unfortunately, within Odessa. I hope to one day be able to rectify them.
Hmm. Where are my manners? So sorry. My name is Sol Hadrin. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And Gudira said no. Said, I should have introduced myself. I am Al Qadir.
A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Are you new within Odessa? I have not seen you before.
Hmm. Even now, the feet stomp across my home, so it is hard for me to rest or find solace. So it is I wonder as to if I am new. I have been here for some time. However, I find it is best sometimes to not be seen.
And he will nod at that. I see.
So, tell me, what is it that brings you out so late in the evening? And also, my apologies. What family embraces you?
Hmm. Uh, he'll respond. I like I had a meeting with some personal friends of mine. They had shown they have came to me with grievances, and I wish to rectify them. And I am a child of Hakim, and you are, good sir.
I am but a humble walker upon a wide and vast road, you will say in answer.
I see.
As he does so, he will smile, however, and you will see the serpentine tongue flick out of his mouth.
And as he does such a gesture, Kadir will, does not necessarily flinch, but his posture does change.
I shall hope that you have not had a negative experience with my brethren.
No, I have not had any negative experiences with your family personally. And there's a hint of that. Like, it's like what he's saying isn't untrue, but there's a little bit of distaste in his tone.
Hmm. Have we done something to offend you?
Hmm. So, let's just say I've been told not the most pleasant things about your family. Old wounds.
Everything you have been told is arguably true and a lie.
I said, but do forgive me. That is old biases and should not be used to truly test a man.
On the contrary, it should be the measure of him. For just as noble Hakim chose you to walk the night because you espoused the virtues that his children followed, so too did mine not embrace me to walk the shadows because I epitomize the virtues that my clan espouse. But just because you understand or you've been told a concept does not necessarily mean you understand the whole. After all, whenever you look in the mirror, do you not stare back at yourself?
I am aware what kind of monster I've became and what monsters all Canaanite and the children of Seth can be. No one is. So, unfortunately, everyone has the capacity for great evil.
You think that they are monsters.
Uh,
Why?
mm, I've seen their actions. I believe we've seen, as we've always have, even not knowing the blood there are. And he looks a bit downer on this behaviors that reside within all of us that come out at times. Some
Yes.
indulge, some don't.
Let me ask you a question. So, But in what way does that make one a monster? We can do incredible things, run faster than the wind, break open metal with our bare hands, command loyalty and love. But ultimately, do humans not have just the same capacity for wanton bloodlust and brutality? And yet they are the marking post that by which humanity is declared and monsters are defined. Did Richard the Lionheart not have men, women, and children dragged out before the gates of Acre and have their heads struck off for the sin of being Saracen? Did the Romans not feed them to lions? Did the Babylonians not sentence people to death by pouring molten gold down their throats? Monsters do not exist. They are merely a paraphrasing, a statement on the human endeavor. Everyone, regardless on if their heart beats or not, has the potential to be a monster, a saint, a martyr, or a god.
And he nods in agreement in this, that we all do. But it doesn't change the fact that just because we all have the potential, one does not have the choice.
And what choice do you choose to make, Al-Qadir?
I choose to be as helpful and as effective to Hakim's will as as possible.
Fascinating. So, in service to a greater purpose, you believe it makes you less a monster?
No, the same rules that we apply to others do apply to us as well. We never relinquished our wills against our own. If we did, it would not be fair to judge others with the same intensity.
If this is what you believe, I personally think that there are different sets of rules that different individuals need to play by. After all, to a thief, the only rule is do not get caught.
Those are the rules that he uses to apply himself. It does not change the fact he has the capability of using such skills in a manner that is more productive and less disruptive to the system.
Systems are an interesting term. So, what are your lines of interest?
I am a keeper, and a avid reader.
You are what, sir?
He said he's a keeper and an avid reader.
What is it you keep?
And he responds, "What is asked of me?"
Do you keep secrets?
If it is asked of me,
You do so without question.
I only question. The only time the question is where the source. The only time to question is from the source.
So, tell me, the smile wins. What is it that you read?
I read a variety of what we're able to understand of the human form. I make sure that the people around me are well kept. Making sure that they are taken care of from disease and fed properly is one of the joys of my existence. I also know ways to make sure that a home is in order and proper function for any type of gatherings. So I read about ancient history, or one may consider it ancient history as well.
Many of us have lived from when there was ancient, from when it was considered ancient to now. So I think that our view of history is somewhat skewed.
It's an interesting advantage that we have now. It is fun to, if it's possible, to find the source of certain texts. But that opportunity does not arrive very often.
So, hmm, interesting. Well, as I said, I'm sure that you will find something worth keeping eventually. Alcadia.
Hmm. I must ask of a person of your age and experience, what brings you here to Omar Shah?
You assume that I'm old.
Said you said you have a cadence to yourself that is noticeable.
I have a
I said
what to myself? Sorry, the character didn't hear.
a cadence to your actions. It is noticeable.
Out of character, I don't know that word, cadence.
It's like a rhythm or a pattern. So
Okay, cool. He will contemplate and he will say, "Oh, in what manner?"
those who have seen much have a typical air about themselves, certain pattern to their speak, so a certain tone to their voice, gestures. I've seen it in my sire. I've seen it in my brother. I've seen it in the prince of the city. Those who have lived long, it is hard for them to truly hide their age.
Many eyes have seen many things. But yes, in this matter you are correct. I take it then that you are more recent to your ilk.
Indeed, I am. Though before I was given the gift, I was quite aware of the blood. I was raised. I was raised in the blood by birth.
I see. So, yes, I have walked this world for a century or two. And I have learned many truths and just as many lies. How about you and I play a game, Alkadir? I know many things. Many things. Ask me, and we will see if I can answer your question. But it will be up to you to determine if my answer is truth or a lie. You might learn something it is that you sought to learn.
He looks at you with intent. That you sparked something in him, but he doesn't necessarily want to indulge in that particular part of himself.
Do you have the curiosity flaw?
No, I'm competitive as my nature. So you're
Oh
challenging
God.
me. So it's like you're. He'll respond. Then just a few questions, if if I may humbly ask. Did you not hear me?
No, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Sorry. You said Kadir said a few questions, if I may humbly ask.
By all means.
Hmm. Since I disclosed my purpose to my family, what is your purpose?
I am simply here, as I said, a walker on the road, in order to teach those how it is to stride forth with unbound feet and hands, free of shackles. Am I telling the truth or am I lying?
I believe you. Being a teacher is a noble art. Said, and then he says, "My next question." And he says, "If I ever may be bold, I was always curious. Do you really believe that Set derived most of us, and not the Dark Father?"
Now that is a question. You ask me if I believe that Set. Hmm.
It's one thing to say that you're his child. It's another to say that he was the true progenitor of us all.
Hmm. I will answer that by saying the following to you. When it is you die, you will find yourself in the great hall of the Duat, the judges, when they will weigh your heart against a feather. Should your heart prove lighter than the feather, you may advance to the afterlife. Should it prove heavier, you will be devoured by a great demon for all eternity. These judges are ancient beyond words, and overseen by Osiris, the brother of Set, whom it was Set murdered, and sundered into pieces, and choked the Nile with his corpse, his fetid blood. So, did the Dark Father not do similar?
Hmm. That's what that's what they say.
Oftentimes different masks, different names, different secrets, and different truths. Who's to say that Set was as he is? Who's to say that I am as you are? After all, if the God of Abraham, God Most High, cursed Cain to create us, who was to say Set did not grant his benevolence, his blessing to his faithful? so that they could continue to serve him throughout all time. Stories are interesting. They have a kernel of truth, but a skin of lies.
That he listens to your words and he thinks about them for a moment. And then he finally says, I can see the wisdom in your words, but but do you believe that your actions will truly bring salvation to this world, bring absolution? I've heard the stories of the grand and exuberant Sedites.
Hmm. Hmm. In the end, we merely allow people to bask in the reverence that they feel within their hearts. We give them the chance to break down the barriers, to be unadulteratedly themselves. There is nobility in this, I'm sure you'll agree.
True freedom can be inspiring, but at what cost?
Hmm. Power is only granted to those who have the will to use it. Do you disagree?
I believe every individual has a sense of power, but I do agree it is cannot unless the person understands it and can use it. All are powerless. Even a man that is 7 foot tall and has muscles of stone, if he believes himself a child, then he believes himself a child.
Yes. Yes. We shall see. I think that there is more to you than meets the eye, Alcatel.
I feel that you have, well, you are doting me, my good sir. I'm just a simple servant.
There is nothing simple about one who serves. Nothing at all. You will one day. He actually at this point he does something very odd. He draws a knife from his belt and he scratches deeply under his eyes until blood runs from just under each one of his eyes. You can actively tell he's allowing himself to bleed. And he looks at you and he says, when it is that the night lacks a moon and the cockcrow crows 3 times, so it shall be that you will stand upon a bridge to nowhere, but in that moment you shall see that the servant becomes the master in the master's house. It's
And
almost prophetic what he says.
at, he looks at you, and there's a bit of steel in his eyes, and his posture changes to more of a defensive and abrasiveness. And
Mhm.
he'll say, "Is that a prophecy or something else?"
he will replace the dagger and he will say, "It is what you interpret it to be."
And he does nod to that.
Many things I have seen come to pass.
And said, wisdom beyond my time, it seems.
If at any point you want to P&E him, you can, by the way.
He's just kind of looking at him. He just very focused on him. And then you see him relax a little bit in his posture, and he simply states, "It was good speaking to you, sir. Maybe another night we can trade more words and establish another back and an ebb of flow of knowledge and wisdom." But as he looks out through probably a small window, the sky is changing and the winds are blowing. I should go on to further on my task and get back to my home soon. If you would excuse me, as he bows.
By all means. I shall hope it is you find your way to whatever path it is that you feel you should walk.
Thank you for your blessings. Evening. And he will open the door and begin to go down the stairs. He'll bow to Omar and open the door slightly to make sure there's no obvious patrols of guards as he begins moving through the streets, feeling uneasy of his encounter with a child of Set. He's heard many stories from his from clan and family, and most of them not pleasant.
And with that, we shall end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Odessa, The Dark Crusade, Season 2.